And the heart is the center for emotions, right? It's been known as such for thousands of years. Whether it's biological or not is still debated. But it's the center for emotions. It's also the center for empathy, right? Nobody thinks rationally about connecting to someone else's struggles. It's not logical, right? We do that to connect as human beings. So connection is from the heart. If you try to connect with the head, we know what happens, right? It is agenda, it leads to conflict. Think about the difference between heart to heart with somebody versus having a head to head. The main motivation for the head is usually about maximizing gain, maximizing profit, minimizing risk, avoiding inconvenient things that are too difficult, and usually about being right? The head wants to be right. It can argue any side of the story if you let it, right? The heart doesn't care about any of that. What does the heart cares about? It cares about your values. A lot of companies and organizations these days publish values, right? It's well thought of. But there's a difference between organizations where people live the value versus organizations where they all look good on the website and on the walls, but people don't actually behave by them. And that's the difference between values that are heart-based because the company really cares about that, and values that are head-based. Diversity and inclusion. Oh, it's really important for us to value diversity and inclusion because that's how we're going to retain people, because that's how we're going to cares about the bottom line, because consumers care about that. Well, that's great, but that's a strategy. It's not a real value. Right? When a firefighter goes into a house on fire and they have to decide, am I going to go in and save a person's life? Well, they go in because they have a core value of helping people even stronger than valuing their own life. And when you act based on your value, despite what the head might say, despite the danger, the risk, the potential loss, we say you act using courage. That's what courage is, yeah. In fact, the root of the word courage is cor, which in Latin means heart. And French is, my home language, is cœur, right? So acting with courage means acting with your heart, despite the head saying otherwise, yeah? And you can see that in the workplace all the time, right? If you have a value of diversity and inclusion, but you see somebody committing a microaggression, well, your heart might say, that's not right. I'm going to stand up for that. The head might say, well, no way, and it will rationalize. Oh, it's not the right time. I'll talk to them later. He didn't mean it that way, or she didn't mean it that way, whatever it is, right? So the head and the heart gives you different signal. But to be able to act with courage is not as easy. And what helps, we find, is having clarity on one's personal values. So working on personal values is critical to then act with courage.